Okay, folks, welcome back. And we got to do some cleanup because a couple days ago we ran a battle over on this other side, and all the stuff that I moved over as the battle was happening ended up on this side. I basically have two tables. That's actually the newer one on the other side. That's the larger of the two. It's 2x4. So this one's probably, I don't know, 18 inches by almost 4 feet. And this is the original painting table. And this one's collecting all the chits and stuff from the game. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the bag. And at some point in the next couple of days, we're probably going to do another battle. It's just not going to be this morning. I really wanted to do it last night. It just didn't work out. It didn't work out. This week literally has been extremely difficult and exhausting for work. So like I didn't want to do anything that involved the prep that would have been involved. So we're going to do something. We're going to do a different type of battle. Obviously with the same rule set. Pretty happy with the results. Hey, Mr. Ben. Pretty happy with how it went. There's a couple things I got wrong, as to be expected, but by and large, the positives are that I think it was a lot more exciting than I was expecting it to be, just soloing it. That's, I'm surprised. But then I'm used to talking to myself, so that helps. And, making decisions out loud. I think years of doing that with Mitch is probably helpful. I'm used to, like, well, I don't know, this guy would probably do this and that kind of, so that self-coaching, some people might say arguing with yourself, but I don't know that it's really arguing. You're just kind of looking at things from different angles and doing stuff that makes sense. I thought that was relatively entertaining. I thought the game actually moved faster than I was expecting it to. The game doesn't move fast if you're not looking stuff up. And as long as you're learning as you go, the next time you're not going to have to look those things up. Not caught up with the battle video yet, so no spoilers. Okay, no spoilers. It comes down to the end. I mean, which is really the best thing you want to happen. It's worth watching. I don't know. I think so. So, all in all, a positive experience. Now, I was up way too late on a work night. I was up till like 11, and then couldn't go to sleep. So, yeah, I'm a little groggy. That didn't exactly help yesterday, the chances. So, no spoilers. It's worth watching. So, that's good. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I didn't get everything right. I got most things right. And I don't think it affected the outcome of the game. Let's put it that way. So, we'll do better next time. If you don't like it, you do it. Yeah. So, good positive spin. Now, things to learn from the experience. I did the right thing with a minimum of weapon systems. So we're going to add them in really slow. Okay? That was the right thing. That was definitely the right thing that happened. I didn't, add all these. I didn't add mortars and weapons that can cause fire lanes and stuff like that. So that was the correct tactic on that. And I was going to say strategy. I'm not good at strategy. I'm good at tactics. Strategy involves long-range planning. I like to live in the now a little bit more than that. Yeah, check it out. What else? I don't know that the one thing I don't think I'm going to be able to do, the thing that I think is the most challenging is finding the interest to figure out how to put a second camera up. I'm a painter. I'm not a video guru guy. I'm sorry. Hey, maybe you'll have somebody will have better videos, but it'll be this stuff won't look as good. I don't know. That's just not my thing, and I just don't have I just don't have it in me to sit there and spend that kind of time trying to improve the video. Especially with the way my workload is and the work stresses. I just feel like I'm being rushed all the time for everything. Almost like being chased by wild dogs. So, most of my work day. So, yeah, I don't want to be rushed and shit like that. So, we did have to look some rules up. I don't think the pauses were extremely long. And the next time we do the game, you know, it'll be better. You know, unless I wait another 20 years, in which case all bets are off. So, but I think it went pretty well. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. So, I had one gentleman, I'm not sure who he is, his name sounds familiar. He made lots of comments about things that either I had trouble finding, or, see, now I've got my feet wet. Now I've got my feet wet as far as being able to read other stuff and comprehend where it fits in the thing. I mean, the game isn't complicated, but that helped. We're gonna have to do I see some things here I don't want to see. Some filth. Send a message to the Pope Alley guys. I'm sure they'll be glad to help you with tips on camera setup. I just don't have it in me. I'm sorry. I hate to be negative, but I'm like, I don't want to lose momentum. There's lots of videos out there. I just don't want, and I certainly don't want to go back and forth in an email or a board format. If I want to bad enough, I'll figure it out. But I'm just starting. Don't overwhelm me. Don't overwhelm me, or I'm going to go to drinking. I didn't lose the feed. That was a positive. I was concerned about that because there's forces at work that I have no control over. I swear I don't. Really? I swear I don't do anything differently every time I set up. And sometimes I have different results. You know, with the buffering and stuff. I'm not the control of the internet gods. So, yeah, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just like, if I start doing things like that, I'm gonna lose interest. I'm gonna lose interest. Like I said, I want to film all the games. When it becomes too difficult, I'm just not gonna film it. You know. So, all right. I need some therapy, and I have a little bit of a headache, so that doesn't help. So let me make sure that my phone is on here and it's plugged in because the wife was out of town. Not that we can't do that with her here. I probably will not do a game video in the morning because if you watch the video, I get kind of excited sometimes. I don't want to wake her ass up. So let's put that there so that if she does call, she's out of town. She's supposed to leave in the morning, come back here. They use a can of beans to prop up their camera. Oh dear. There's tons of videos on there. And I've actually got another spare camera. I've got an Apple phone. God help me. You know, everything that I've done so far filming has been basically just trying it, and it should be able to work, you know, on the fly. Let's not throw that away. That's the mount for the 50. Yeah, I had a really challenging week. I was able to figure something out that we're using this new program for work. That's all I'm going to say, and it's designed by communists. And you know, I've been doing what I've been doing for about 30 years. And it was extremely challenging to not be able to having to relearn how I'm doing stuff. And it's extremely less efficient. So, next week will be better. Or I'll quit. Anyhow, let's see. What else do we have that's out of the way here? I think that's it. We probably need to do the wheels on the Pack 40s. We're gonna set our goals really short-sighted and simple this morning. But check out the rest of that video. I didn't do too bad for the first time. Put it that way. Next time will be better. And I think it went pretty well. I think it's one thing it taught me, I think, is I definitely want, once I get another human in here, I'm going to play one side by myself. I think that's going to speed things up. So, all right, we don't need this on because it's not even viewable. Let me put somewhere else for my on the air sign, but maybe over here, but still wouldn't be viewable right now. Okay. We got enough of this off so far. We got lots of these containers of this stuff, container lids. Let's get the black out. Bring out your black. Dong. That's not very PC. It is the way it is with the intent that I plan on saying it. You're the one that corrupted it into something it's not. This one? No, that one's shitty. That's good. All right, let's paint the tires on these. Right now, these German, I don't like how they're looking. But I'm not done yet, and I've done this enough times to realize I don't judge a book by its cover or by the introduction page. Yeah, I don't even know how to. This picture that's here, I don't even know how to zoom in on that. Maybe I'll feel the desire to do that. The daughter is gone as of 3 days ago, so I should have less than, as much as I don't want her to leave, it's less interruptions. So, maybe. We'll see. Let's just take it one step at a time. But we're definitely going to be doing this. We're not going to see vehicles for a little while in the game. That's the smart move, is not to introduce them just yet. Or we're going to do that shit wrong. But we had, 6 soldiers against 4, so technically 10 soldiers, and it lasted over 3 hours. Now, I was looking a lot of this stuff up, and that was probably some of the reason for it, but that's just a warning. If you want to see my battles and go, man, why are they taking so long? Well, maybe you need to go somewhere else, because, it provides a pretty good narrative. And that's with me fumbling around. Okay, this was a partial Coke, so it doesn't count in how many Cokes I'm gonna have today. So we're gonna grab a real full one. But having this place I can leave set up, even though the battlefield's not huge, should come in handy. May have to downsize. Oh shit, I can't believe I haven't showed you this yet. I got something in. I got something exciting in yesterday. Inexpensive, but that doesn't matter. Excitement can be cheap. I got some of this wire. And I was gonna, And everyone's like, oh, don't buy this stuff. You can buy it for a lot cheaper. But I don't want to get the stuff that's like the wrong size because I'm not going to be able to see it. It's going to be sight unseen. But it's this Battlefield razor wire from Army Painter. It's not too expensive, and you get 4 meters of it. So, by the time I go through 4 meters, I'll realize whether I even want more. So, yeah. And I'm not going to make my own. That's, you got too much free fucking time on your hands for that. So we're going to make some wire markers at some point. And they'll look good. So, it's pretty bendy, actually. Yeah, there's lots of sellers you can get like 100 feet for the same price as 15 feet. But, what the hell am I need 100 feet for? It's not like I'm going to do, here's my diorama of Alamein, You don't sound like that. What did I say? Man, the delay really sucks. I hate the delay because by the time whatever you type gets processed to me, I've already thought about a bunch of other stuff. You don't sound like that? Yeah, I can't do, I can only do RP accents and not even that well, so. I may be terrible at British accents, but I'm better than most of the people in the U. I'm better than most freaking U.S. actors. I know that's not saying anything. We do a shitty job here, and you guys can drop your, you can drop your English accents and talk like Americans. I don't think I've ever heard an actor that's from Britain or Scotland, really, for that matter, that people here in the U.S. say he doesn't sound American. And there's some heavily accented mothers from over there. So it's people over here that just are handicapped, I guess. Now, I have heard people from the UK that are actors that try to do an accent from another country or just don't care, that do a shitty job. But if they're going to lose if they're going to pretend to sound American, they do a pretty good job. PSC has a flash sale on, yes. And I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and that was one of the notifications. And I went through there, and I'm like, I don't need to buy these honeys now. So I'm okay. But as usual, they have almost nothing in stock. No, I clicked on a couple things. They have stuff in stock for me. Well, there's inventory. They said they had 11 packs of the honeys. Let's not go to North Africa just yet. We'll go there unless I die prematurely. I get some honeys. I can get some 25-pounders with the gun crews that don't have any shirts on to make some jock columns. No. It'll wait. If I'm going to buy me some Brits, it's probably going to be for Northwest Europe. I already have the Northwest Europe figures. And I like them. Yeah, but you're looking at stuff in 15 millimeter. That might be what it is. They've been cleaned out of 15 millimeter stuff. I'm old school. I'm doing the 20 millimeter stuff. Here in the U.S., I'm doing the stuff nobody wants to do. There's very few of us that do 1/72nd scale here. British actors go to RADA, TTO, learn how to act. Not quite the same setup as U.S. Yeah, I hear they just got to blow the right person. Yeah, I'm not. You guys know this. Both of you guys know this. I'm not a UK basher. You know, I saw something the other day about it was some meme, and of course memes are tend to rile people up, and it was something like something that portrayed people in the United States thinking of people that are British as like I want to say bad guys, but just like antagonistic towards the British, and that's not the case. That just isn't the case here with people from the United States. We don't like people in other countries telling us how to run our country. It isn't perfect, but that's it. I am certainly not an anti. Yeah, I explain it to the choir. You guys know. Except for that driving on the wrong side of the fucking street, okay? You're not getting away from me on that bullshit. That and it's a contagion. You got the Australians to do that bullshit, the Japanese. Well, the Japanese have other issues, but all kinds. That's it. That's the only problem I got with you guys. Um, about the scale between your little projects and early war managers, I'm a bit of analysis paralysis mode. PSC seemed to have a lot of sales just before they restock. That doesn't make any sense. Like, let me get rid of everything and sell it off to be. I don't know. Maybe I just wouldn't be good at business. You have a big sale when you have too much of something, not enough. There's some lines that never seem to sell. I can never get the 20 millimeter vehicles that I want on scale. What doesn't sell for them? I was so just. Have you bought any of your 3D printed stuff from them in the vehicles? Are they any good? I know Ben was saying that there was an elephant that had indigestion and blew up in the sun. but I guess I'm just stupid. I never realized that something like an elephant in 15 millimeter would be hollow. I guess I'm just dumb like that. I just don't know anything about 3D printing, and I'm not going to get into that. I'm not. Yes, I could 3D print, and then all the effort that I do in painting, I'd be 3D printing and be frustrated. When's the last time I got frustrated painting something? I don't think it's happened. Um, we want to keep it that way. I got no time for a frustrating hobby. But I don't know how much the shipping to the United States from Plastic Soldier Company is, but I don't need to do that right now. Um, I started on these AT guns a long time ago. Like, let's do some. We'll have a couple of ATs. We've got some Soviet ones because I got lots of German tanks done, early war tanks, and some Pac 40s, so we can get the British tanks, shot at. And then eventually work one vehicle into something, or two vehicles and like one anti-tank gun, or maybe four vehicles and one anti-tank gun. Um, I imagine any of the 22 boxes of Steyr heavy cars would come coated in plenty of dust. German vehicles, as a general rule, are really attractive. Those Steyr cars are not. They're really, really ugly. They are. Horches are attractive. Protz trucks are attractive. But those, like, curvy, big nose bitches, I'm not a fan of. Boy, that could be really taken out of context, couldn't it? Tony doesn't like curvy, big-nosed bitches. You know, those trucks, those Steyrs, are not attractive. Doesn't mean I wouldn't get any. I don't think the Opel Blitz is a very attractive truck. I have some. I mean, it's not as ugly as a... This thing's ugly, okay? And I bought one, and I painted it. It's an ugly-ass vehicle. Well, the fact that it's a coupe makes it a little cuter, but it's an ugly-ass vehicle. It's not DUKW ugly. Nothing is. That's got to be the ugly. That's got to be the ugliest period vehicle. God, that thing's ugly. Let's not do that again. There's a gap in between the edge of this and the other table. That's why you put your phone in a phone protector, Mitch. Always have. Canceled. Yeah. Fuck you. It's America. We shoot back at cancellations. I bought 3 sets of the Steyr cars in one of the previous sales. If they're really too late for what I need, it'd be great if I did the Horch or the Prats. I didn't realize that the Steyrs weren't all the way through the war. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what possessed them to... I'm surprised they don't have any M10 tank destroyers. I really wish they did. I mean, you could use them for the Brits. You can use them for the Americans. God, we need an affordable one. And what's even worse than that is you have a company like Armor, S-Model, and Armorfast. And both of them are almost impossible to get a hold of here in the States. Armorfast is extremely impossible to get. There's a vendor that has on eBay that has a whole bunch of them, and they're actually pretty affordable. Now, keep in mind, if I got some M10s from Armorfast, I'm going to have to do some details to the interior, but they're like devoid of interior. So my M10 dilemma is I either get the UM ones, and they're about almost $30 a piece, or over $30 a piece shipped each, and I have to build them, which I'm not opposed to, but it does take time, okay? And they have a lot of fiddly parts. I don't love UM. I don't hate them, but so they're $30 a piece, which is cost prohibitive to buy 4 of them. I mean, I don't want to buy them bad enough. Let's put it that way. I buy the Armorfast ones from a guy in Britain, and the shipping on them is pretty hefty, but they're really cheap. And he has a lot of things out of stock, but he's got lots of M10s. But then they don't have the racks in the back where the ammo, the ready racks. And you kind of see that. I mean, it's kind of an important thing to have on there. But they do have 50 caliber machine guns on them, okay? I don't need the 50 caliber machine guns to be super detailed, but at least they have them on there. The other option is to get them 3D printed. There's some 3D printers that look like ass. Maybe they look better in person, but I'm always one of the opinions that when you buy something online, it looks better online than when you get it. So if it looks worse when I get it, that's going to be a problem. You know, and it's not resin printed, it's with PLA. But that one's affordable. You can get those for like $7 or $8 a piece. The people that make the M10s, there's a couple of printers that make the M10s from Excise Miniatures. One of them is in Britain, or 2 of them are in Britain. Just cost prohibitive to ship them here. And another one is France. It's cheaper, but the shipping's even worse. The shipping's like $30 or something like that. Well, I'm not going to order 12 of them, okay? Because you know I don't need 12 of them. You know, I'd want 2. I'd really ideally want 1 to see if it looks good. I suspect that the Excise Miniature stuff, I haven't seen any of it in the flesh, but it's definitely heroic sized. And I think the vehicles aren't realistically shaped to a little degree. So I'm concerned about spending $60 and be unhappy with stuff. I'd rather spend $60 on the bricks because the bricks look great. And by the way, the next battle I do is going to have some bricks on the ground. You know, got to mix up the terrain. It's not going to be on the same battlefield every time. We may have some of the same elements, but you know, we got some stuff to make some cool looking battlefields, so we're going to do that. What other options are there? Oh, so the 3D printed ones that are cheap, I could try them, but they have no machine guns on them at all. Actually, one of them does come with a machine gun, which looks more like a flame. It's horrendous. It needs to be removed and replaced. So then I'm like, all right, eBay's. There's this one guy that was selling 250 caliber machine guns shipped for probably like $7 with them. But what if they're too brittle? You know, it's like when so many things are so difficult to try to get traction on something, I usually just punt and just say, okay, that was a fun exercise. I'm not going to do it, you know? So, 42 onwards for the Steyrs. Okay. So you're not going to see the Steyrs in gray for very long. You can make a tarp to cover half the compartment. Well, they make one with half the compartment. What I want the 50 showing, you know? I mean, it's not important. It's not super important, but, you know, because, you know, this vehicle doesn't have, this Sherman doesn't have the hatch. It's open or a 50 caliber on it, but if it needs to for a scenario, I have no problem doing it. I would just rather it have the 50, you know. Yeah. If I do the tarp, I don't have to. They make them 3D printed with the tarp. If I do the tarp, then and it's the same problem with the Hellcats. Exactly the same problem with the Hellcats. So I got this one guy that I know is like, hey, you should do a tank destroyer. You know, my grandfather was in a Hellcat unit. Well, I don't need to do them bad enough. If I do it, you know, I buy the kits. It is what it is. You know, I don't mind building the model kits. It's therapeutic. I'm not on a time crunch. This can take as long as we need it to take. I mean, we have to kind of wrap this up in about 40 years, you know, but short of that, you know, I'm not really on a time crunch. And I wouldn't be doing this if I was on a time crunch. I will not be doing that again, ever. Got to get this done by it. Nope, that's not how it's going to work. You get it done, and then you put a game together. You can rush people that like work for the government or something like that don't have enough on their plate. No thanks. So I'm entertained by those little exercises like, let's say I wanted to get a whatever. Where can I get one? How much is it? And generally, I do those exercises quite frequently. It's just the M10 M18 one that I've been going back and forth on. And then there's some die-cast ones. They're like $50 fucking for a die-cast one. I'm like, nah. And I don't need one. It's just there was a kind of a cool scenario that involved some of them. Yeah, it didn't cost me anything to do that little exercise. But going back to the things that they build, I hate the fact that the PSC A9 in 15 millimeter has stuff for an A10 as well, and the 20 millimeter one doesn't. I just absolutely hate that. Oh well. I'm not doing 15 millimeter. If I had to start now with the stuff that's available, maybe, because there's a lot of options. But when I started doing this, there wasn't any World War II 15 millimeter to think of. And a lot of the 15 millimeter vehicles I've seen are grossly out of scale for whatever reason. They're just kind of thrown together. I suspect the Plastic Soldier Company ones aren't. But even the ones that are made by Flames of War, do you have a vehicle that has like hard edges, like a Panzer III, and it's got like soft edges on some things? I'm like, what kind of gerrymandering type thing is this? You know, it's a, you know. What kind of a woke Panzer III has soft edges on the turret? I mean, only the back that's round. That's it. Everything else, you know, it's got to have corners, you know. woke Nazi tanks of the Second World War. I'll take words you're not supposed to use in a sentence together. Oh, man. It's interesting. The inside of this isn't very yellow. Well, it'll end up being fine. At some point, these were probably gray, and they got repainted. Well, that part's not really that important. Okay, we'll let those wheels dry a little bit so that when we do the weathering on them. Let's see, did we finish these Soviet ones all the way through? I think we were supposed to. Okay. Yeah, it's not bad for a die-cast little tank. Unfortunately, they're 1/76th, but so are these. Sometimes you just gotta give a little. All right. These Soviet tank crewmen are okay. These old Airfix guys, I'm probably going to use them. Let's make sure that they're completely cleaned up. And then we'll fill some stuff that we need to fill on them. Like this guy's got like a sucking chest wound. That's another reason to place these on pennies, is a penny's heavier than any, well, a washer would be heavy too. You know, it gives them some heft. Otherwise, you know, if I sneeze, these guys go all the way across the battlefield. Or breathe heavy. You know how I get excited when I play games. What kind of games are you playing that you're breathing heavy? Exciting ones, damn it. Let's get something that we have not gotten out for a while. And then we'll base these guys in black. Well, we won't be able to do it with this one because of what we're about to do. Pretty small applicator, but yeah, we got a couple different things we could be working on right now. Well, this is moistened. Moistened? This might actually be the thing to use. Somebody says use a small moistened finger. Boy, now we know what word I have trouble saying. Moistened. Moistened. I think a wet little brush is better. Okay, those are going to dry. I believe all the Soviet guys are okay. Yep, he is. As far as needing any putty, he is. And we mixed the helmets on him, so some of them have helmets. Some of them. Guys, these guys are screaming like. What's that guy's name? The guy that's in A Bridge Too Far that I can't stand. He's in the wrong freaking movie. Elliot Gould. Elliot Gould in a war movie is like me being in a pothead movie. Getting all angry. Get across that bridge! He's just angry because he doesn't have his pot. Oh, man. That's the movie with that, with those type of portrayals. There's so many actors in there. Like half the people in that half the famous actors in that movie shouldn't have been not in that movie. It's like that doesn't really work. Okay. I had something I was just thinking of. Now I gotta write this stuff down. I gotta write my thoughts down. It's a good thing I've never done any drugs, or I'd have trouble thinking. This is my drug of choice, caffeine. Shit. We were gonna do these because we're gonna paint them. Those guys need to be filled in. I was thinking about it so I just need to just talk it, say out loud, and that way you guys can remember. Hey, remember you were gonna. Hey, dumbass, remember you were getting ready to say this? I feel like it was something that was over there. I know what it is. My Brits. Let's go base my Brits. Because one thing we learned is with one side having only 4 figures, you can have a game with it. Let's base my Brits. Your people, guys. Your people. And these are cool. I have a lot of British figures. I only have 4 painted so far. But all my British figures that I have even not painted, almost all of them are really cool. You saw them the other day. That's what it is. Let's take this old stuff and make these guys come to life. Now, some of the uniform is a little brighter than I would probably do now. I'm going to leave these guys alone. I'm going to leave them alone. All right, so we have this label for sharp. I'm going to try to reuse the same piece of wood. So I'm going to go ahead and wet this and see if I can't remove this label. I think we did that with some of the Germans and it worked. How many guys go in a universal carrier? Because I'm thinking like, here's 4 guys, universal carrier. By the way, I've got 4 riflemen and 1 Sten gunner. You think this would work with a universal carrier? I'll paint a universal carrier. I've got one. Actually, it's got the Vickers on it. And then this poor chap, his label broke off. It's the only one that's ever broken off. So we're going to go ahead and remove that and we'll put a new one down. Some talk of Alexander and some talk of Hercules, of Hector and Lysander, and such great names as these. What? Keke what? Alexander, never heard of her. Hey, I should use my figures for that epic game system that Warlord... No. glad I'm not doing ancients right now. We're in our happy place. All right, let's see if we're able to remove this. I better write this down, although I should remember who these guys are. We have Corporal Phillips. We got Duncan, Campbell. Technically, those two are Scots, wouldn't they? That's a couple clans right there. And Sharp. These are all painted with Games Workshop paints, by the way. It worked. Just stuck on there with Elmer's glue. PVA, eh? Yep. PVA. You don't know the lyrics to the British Grenadiers? I don't. I'm not that British. Good Lord. All right, these guys have the old school magnet, which means it's thinner. I think I'm going to leave it be. And just any new guys will have the new ones. Back when I got these, Litco did not make a heavy duty magnet. The heavy duty magnet is probably 50% thicker. These are fine. I don't need to. These should grip enough. It's just to put them in a tray so they don't fall over each other. As a matter of fact, I need to go ahead and do that as well while I'm thinking about it. And then we'll goop those. Yeah, I was eyeing the Churchills. I mean, why do you get gypped on the Churchills and only get 2 Churchills? So the 3D printing. So on Churchills, I actually found somebody had some, I think, die-cast Churchills that were Churchill 7s that were pretty inexpensive. And I'm like, man, I could get them because that's the ones I need for Normandy, right? So I did a deep dive, or a shallow dive, because I've got that scenario book for Operation Epsom, and in that scenario, there's some that have Churchills. I think there's 3 or 4 Churchills in one scenario max. So the unit that had them, I forget which tank brigade it was. I'm not even going to try to guess which one it is, but it does have the Diabolo, the double V's in green. Whichever one it was. I looked into that. That supported the Scottish division, which is in a lot of those Epsom battles. And I went and tried to find out what kind of, because the scenario book says Churchill. It doesn't say Churchill 3 with a 75 millimeter or 6 pounder. It doesn't say any of that stuff. It just says Churchill. So from what I could tell is the Mark 7 Churchills that were in Normandy didn't arrive until July, and if they were basically for the command vehicles. So unless I'm doing some kind of a squadron commander or something like that, I need to use 4s and 3s. And I have a gut feeling that all of them had 75 millimeter guns. They didn't have 6 pounders. Whether you want a 6 pounder or not, which you do, it's got better AP penetration, but they all had 75 millimeter guns as far as I can tell, and they were either Churchill 3s or 4s. And the ones with the round turret or the roundish turret, honestly, they're pretty ugly. But a Churchill's not a very attractive vehicle to begin with. I didn't say it was ugly, but not attractive. I can't talk about any of these soldiers. Watch the video, man. There's some. I don't want to do any spoilers. Flanagan, he's in the battle. You know that if you watch some of it. No spoilers. I'll tell you what I am going to do. No, I'm probably not going to do that. I said the soldiers that come from Dave Alsop have the rank on their things, and it'd be nice to if I could paint them on the other guys. But if I don't paint them, then I can use them as a standard guy that happens to not be a an NCO. So that's probably more valuable. Schneider, Langer, Old Calvin. Yeah, some of these guys are making names for themselves or made names for themselves. Okay, these are the guys I have painted, and I have a 50 millimeter gun mortar crew that needs to be. I need to redo their smocks. I'm not happy with that. Okay. We're okay. Now we don't have any of the stuff over right here on the table. Okay. All right, so we got these Brits that need to be gooped. Gooped and duped. Yeah, we could certainly use 4 Brits in a game. Of course, they're going to be on the defense. Next British guy will be painted to be a Bren gunner. I need to put this somewhere else. Just a mere active. Oh, here we go. I'm on my way home. Should be home around 10. You'll be home before then. Okay. That's it. The parole officer's on the way. I gotta find out if I have to paint the edge of the Bren gun, the end of the Bren gun, stainless. I hope I don't have to because it looks stupid. There, I said it. Some of you might like it. That's fine. I don't. I think it looks ridiculous. I did say Bren, didn't I? That's what I meant to say. Not stem. Yeah, I haven't gotten a lot of sleep the last couple nights, so I'm over caffeinated and unslept. So it's instead of unkempt, unslept. Normally I wouldn't do this way, but I will on this occasion. Let's take, for good measure, So anyways, I decided not to get the Churchill Mark 7s when I found that out. There's one whole unit that got crocodiles, and heard a lot of them were reserved for crocodiles. So I guess we'll have to. So that's why Plastic Soldier Company decided to make their set of Churchills that not include Mark 7s. Normally I would stick the thing on here afterwards. But since these guys are in the same boat, might as well put him in the same boat. That's about the same size as the nameplate on that plate on that other one. So let's glue that down. Oh. Churchill 7s were available from April, May 44. Most of the gun tanks normally were 6s and 7s. Most of the funnies used the 4 chassis. Well, the reference I saw for that tank brigade, it sounded like there weren't very many 7s. Anyways, I could have a wrong reference, but I was all excited to buy Mark 7s. Mark 7 is the best looking one. I mean, it's not even close. My opinion. It's not even close. I don't like roundy things when they're not supposed to be roundy. Roundy. But the Epsom book doesn't say what Churchills they are. It just says Churchill. Like, well, that's lazy. We come to you for knowledge. If we're going to make stuff up, we can do that on our own. Okay, that's the last one we're going to do, since that could be a little while before it dries. I'll look again. I'll check my references. It's not like I'm going to... But there's one scenario that has a couple Churchills and a couple Mark IVs on a really small board. Hey, I don't mind hopping around. I don't mind doing some British stuff, doing some American stuff. And I got really annoyed when I did a deep dive into what unit I wanted my Shermans to have. And it was the right unit. The 8th Tank Brigade. However, I did all the research to find out which was the senior regiment and all that, so we could get the right unit of service things on there. Did all that information. Okay, should have been this. And then somebody comes up with a fucking decal set that has a 3-numbered thing just for that 8th Tank Brigade. The 8th Tank Brigade used a different type thing according to this. So there's mixed information. I'm not going to be redecaling my 8th Tank Brigade tanks. They're decaled correctly if they didn't use the 3 number system one. So I'm going to leave them alone at this point. Because for starters, they fucking look great. Or I love the way those guys look. So... that's just the same mentality of like, okay, you do the best effort you can at a time to figure out if you're going to build like some Normans, right? Like I want to do Normans, do all the research, which figures you want to get. You're happy with your selection. You do them, and then as soon as you're fucking done with them, they pull a Coruscant miniatures on you, and somebody comes up with another Norman set of figures that you would have bought had they been available at the time. Well, you just have to be happy with what you have when you had it, or all you're going to do is be chasing the proverbial ball and redoing stuff. So ultimately, if I'm happy with the decision I made, that's really all that's important to me. Because odds are I'm going to be more anal retentive than anybody else playing with me about that stuff. So as long as I'm satisfied, that's all that matters. Yeah, that was really annoying. Like, okay, now the arm and service are different on this one. Why didn't this freaking come up? You know? Oh well, fuck it. They look good. They look weird with the 3-numbered things, anyways. So, right. Goopa time. It's goopty time. And I think This stuff is kind of hard to deal with at one point. So I'm going to use a brush. One that's not too expensive. I think we used this one or something like that. What was that? I don't have notifications on. I certainly don't have sound on them. Apparently I do. What the fuck? If you were to call me, you probably wouldn't get a hold of me because I don't have the volume turned on. Never do. So next battle, we're probably going to implement some BARs. Maybe even this 30 caliber machine gun. Even though the belt broke on it. Oh well, shit happens. I mean, it has some of the belt, just doesn't have the part that I had it worked out so it goes straight to the machine gun and it broke off. Oh well. See, I'm reading this book on the this tank account in Normandy from I forget what it's called, Brothers in Arms or something like that. Something brothers from another mother, brothers from a British mother, and it's about this account of the in Normandy of well, there's lots of stuff on it as well, but right now the part I'm in is in Normandy with the Sherwood Rangers, which is one of the regiments in the 8th Tank Brigade. Coincidentally, completely coincidentally. The only reason I did 8th Tank Brigade was because that's the unit that was in that one scenario from the face of battle. But it's a different regiment. It's the 4th, 7th Guards. I can never remember what the fuck it's called. 4th, 7th Guards, I believe is what it is. Might be something else Guards, but anyways, Dragoon Guards. Anyways, the Sherwood Rangers, another one of the regiments, and the other one is the 24th Lancers. That's the three regiments that are in the 8th Tank Brigade. And it just so happens that this memoir is just one of the other regiments in the same thing. So, yeah, it's somewhat entertaining. I'm trying to process it while I'm driving, so I'm not able to take notes or anything, but. It's kind of interesting that they're over there operating with the 50th Division, which is the patches these guys have. And I guess they'd be next to the Canadians. And they're running into Panzerlehr and 12th SS at the same time. So my German tanks, or a couple of them, are done for the Panzerlehr. The thing I really dislike about the Panzerlehr is I think their infantry use this weird uniform, like double-breasted uniform. You know what I'm talking about? A couple of figures make soldiers for them. I think Simon Soldiers makes Panzerlehr infantry, and maybe AB as well. I don't know why they had this particular uniform, But you know, it's like the double-breasted, like the Panzer uniforms, but in field gray, not black. I don't like the double-breasted things, and I've got lots of Germans with a standard uniform. So if I ever pretend that these guys are Panzerlehr, they're just going to have normal uniforms, not Panzerlehr uniforms. I don't like them. I don't like the double-breasted uniforms. I don't know why they did that. And some kind of, maybe that was just that they decided to do for that particular unit, but it looks wrong. To my eye. It makes me sad. Let's get our rocks out here so we don't forget to put rocks in here. Okay. That's Duncan. This guy's Campbell. The Soup Man. Any particular World War II units, British World War II units you like to model? Or you just kind of make them generic? This is why I don't drink alcohol. I didn't have any. I don't know the last time I had a drink, and I have a headache, like as if I had alcohol, like a dehydrated headache. I drank a lot of water yesterday, like a ridiculous amount of water actually. I was running around like crazy at work, and I'm definitely water cooled, and my office is hot, unfortunately. I do not know. And I just can't imagine. And I have a really light headache, but it's just really distracting. And I can't imagine like doing that on a regular basis. So as much as I'd like to implement something like a mortar or something like that in the next battle, I probably could do that, but I don't know that I'm going to. We haven't mastered the few things that we added in there to start mess up the equation. Okay, we're gonna set that aside. And let's get some rocks. Rocks for sale? Get your fresh rocks here. Anybody even watching? I get disconnected? No? I'm gonna put these rocks on here and I'm gonna go look at those Epsom scenarios. that side. Monty's Epsom is what it's called. And the only other British one they make, I think they make one for the 6th Airborne Division, but I'm not a fan of airborne stuff. And I like the British airborne stuff. Their uniform's pretty cool, but not really dying to do that kind of stuff. Okay, this right here is skirmish campaigns. This book marks the first of a series of books that will follow British forces on the Western Front. A second book focused on the 6th Parachute Division in Normandy will be next in the series. Following books may include the BEF 1940 and Operation Market Garden. Well, they never made them. They haven't made them yet. Oh, here we go. General scenario notes. Drivers. It is assumed that players will allocate drivers for motorized units. Okay, so when you have number of guys or a truck, one of those guys is considered the driver. You don't get an extra driver for that. M4 Sherman tanks. Several models of the M4 Sherman were in service in June 44. M4, M4A1, and M4A3 were the most common. British designations were slightly different than U.S. designations. Okay, I don't think there's any American tanks in this, so I can already tell you, as a treadhead, the British didn't have those in Normandy. They would have Sherman 3s and Sherman 5s, which are M4A2s and M4A4s. None of them are listed there. That's none of those. The M4A1 was the Sherman 1. So, nonsense. Just, that's like, stuff in the rules and stuff like that. If there's something that's definitely wrong in the rules or wrong in the scenario, I'm not going to play it the way the scenario is. This isn't a DBA tournament, okay? I don't have to do anything by how it's written. If what's written was wrong, pretty much that's a no-brainer. British Firefly tanks, M4 Sherman's equipped with 17-pounder, are not equipped with a whole machine gun, right? Ammunition, we assume unlimited AP and HE for guns, mortars, and vehicles, less specifically limited. I want to see if it said a comment on the Churchills. Well, let's go to one scenario with the Churchills. Doesn't matter. We'll do our own research. All right. I actually hope you're right that it was all Type 7s. Because I haven't bought any. And I would, as much as I like Plastic Soldier Company, and I do, their Churchills are very expensive. Now, they give you options for the hatches being open, and they're pretty cool looking, but yeah, here is the map of the area, and it tells you the little stars where these particular battles are supposedly taking place. Yeah, 50th is over here. So the stuff I did in the other stuff is over in this area. Just trying to trying to surround Khan. Interesting. There's a book here on the book recommendation. Operation Epsom at Hill 112. I actually have that book. And if you look at some of these hills, they're not really hills. They're not what I would, they're like a rise. You know? Like you could build one of those and you wouldn't see a crest line. Like you can't really go reverse slope on one of those hills. Yeah, I've got the book on it. It's another one of those books that I got and never read it. I flipped through it and go, oh, this is interesting if I ever need it. Here it is. Got the one in St. Vith too. That is a Churchill 7? That's a Churchill 7. Looks like it's got that little ridge there on the bottom. Whoa, that was going for a ride. Yeah. Hill 112. That's no hill. It's just a rise. Man, I guess I better read this. There's some good shit in here. There's some good stuff in here. Okay. I'm gonna leave that out. Unfortunately, it's a paperback book, which means I gotta be extra careful. Yeoman Recon. It's a 2x4 board. Hey, I got one of those right over here. Field. A rubbled house, another rubbled house, another rubbled house. Bocage between them. Well, what makes this scenario so freaking good? Germans have an SDKFZ 250/9. That's the Recon one with a little 20mm turret on the back. A 232/1 and 2 partial Pioneer squads. Yikes. Operation Bluecoat. I'm not familiar. Churchill 7s were, okay, yeah. I'm not familiar with Bluecoat. Is that like the Fallet Pocket? There's just some things I'm just totally ignorant of. And it's not like I know the American operations either. So it's 2 squads that have, yeah, that's too big of a scenario. That's too big of a scenario. I mean, the board's cool. M3 Scout Team. No, my M3 Scout car is Russian. I can't build that one. Okay, that's too big. That's too big of a map. That's huge. This is a 4x8. (23rd Hussars, 11th Armored Division). Didn't 11th Armored use... I think 11th Armored was one of the ones that used Cromwell's, wasn't it? Maybe they just used them in the recon unit. These have Shermans in here. Tiger ones, yikes. Well, there's 8 fucking Shermans, so, you know. 2 Tigers, just 8 Shermans. Yeah, that's a good percentage. Scots in the night. Ooh, this is kind of cool. It's too big of a board, but got 4 Mark IVs. Got them. And an artillery command group. Got it. And the Brits have 2 patrol teams of 6 men. Bet it's at night, though. Hopefully it's called wrong. Attack at Dawn. I think this is the one that I was thinking about that was small. 2 Mark IVs and 2 Panzer Grenadier LMG teams. So you only have a total of 10 German figures and 2 Mark IVs. And the Brits have 3 Churchills, 3 infantry. That's a lot of infantry squads. That's a lot of infantry squads. Well, you could cut it in half. You know, you could put 1 Panzer IV and 1 of those LMG teams, and then a British squad. Something. The board's small. It's 2x4. Germans set up on half the board. Brits come in here, and Brits have a variable. Germans have they have German entry? What comes in on the board? Let's see here. Scenario notes. And there's an orchard. I got trees for an orchard. I'm going to have to redo them. I'm going to have to put magnets on the bottom of them because they're on stupid vases. The start of the scenario is raining. Oh, they're Hitler-Jugend fuckers. Oh. Well, that'd be a way to paint 5 SS fuckers. Yeah, for future reference, this is a clusterfuck. So see, some of this stuff, I don't know that it's scaled for 20 millimeter. Okay? This is 1 foot squares, supposedly. So you have a 4x8 board. Inside the space of equivalent of a 1 foot square, there's 3 buildings. They're really small buildings then. Four Panzer IVs. 8 Shermans. I like that. And 2 of the Shermans are Fireflies. That's the right percent. That's the right percentage. Outnumbered 2-1, and they got Fireflies. There's those 8 Fireflies and the 4 Shermans again. Hitler-Jugend motherfuckers. Yeah, so it looks like 3 Churchills is the most any of these scenarios. Group counterattack. Look at this. This is a 2x3 board. What the hell's in here other than a cluster? What the hell is a 150 millimeter infantry gun for the Germans doing on a board that small? Oh, and the Germans come in? Oh, it's just a target then. STK of Z11's pulling it, yeah. It's going to have to hide somewhere. That might be a good scenario for people. Oh, there's some cool stuff in here. 11th Armored Division in Newbury. The symbol on the 11th Armored is really cool. I really like that bull. A nice scenario would be the 6-pounder from 2nd Battalion Gordon Highlanders that helped stop the 15th Scottish Division being overrun during a German counterattack. I tend to scale map down for a 4x4 table. You know, ultimately, this gives you ideas, and you could be like, okay, well, I'm going to build, this sniper team, or, this infantry team here, and made up of those guys, Highlander defense, what a cluster. That's the other thing. If this is the river, I'm not sure which river it is, but I don't think it was this. There's one of the scenarios I was looking about the river Orne. I don't know, was reading an account or something like that. So I go on Google Earth and see what that river looks like. Calling the river Orne a river in the part that I looked at is just embarrassing. It's a creek, which is good because otherwise you'd need like a river crossing type thing. But yeah, we do stuff like this. The board's got to look good. It can't be some candy ass putting felt down bullshit. I don't want to play that. Argyle Advance. Lots of Scots, man. Well, you know, we got lots of Scott. We got lots of Scotch whiskey in the house to drink. Oh darn! To sip on. Lots of these SS fuckers. Well, I don't have to paint figures for them, but if I can't, if I want to. Looks like Churchill's are the most. There's no note in here about which Churchills to use. I'm going to look into that. Hopefully you're right that they're all Mark 7s, but that's what I read that they. Maybe it's a different tank brigade. Oh, let's see. What's the tank brigade that these Churchills come from in this? Because this is actually a little. No, it's the same time period. I don't mind looking into it again. I like that's the kind of stuff I like reading about. I'm a treadhead, so. Okay, so this is 7th Royal Tank Regiment, 31st Tank Brigade. Okay, so 7 RTR 31st Tank BDE. Okay? See if the other Churchills are from the same unit. I suspect that they are. They may not be 7th Royal Tank Regiment, but I bet they're the same tank brigade. These are Shermans from 11th Armored. I'm more interested in the Churchills for this. Royal Tanks. Yep. 9th Royal Tank Brigade, 31st Tank Brigade. Okay. 9RT. Oh, it's even better than that. It's 9th Troop B Squadron. Oh, I gotta have a Churchill named Belvedere. Belvedere, come here, boy. I know that's not British. That's an old Bugs Bunny cartoon. Come on, you should know that. That gets all the way out there. 31st Tank Brigade. Yeah, 31st Tank Brigade's got a lame symbol. Got that. It has that Diablo. And then this one is A Squadron, 9th Royal Tank Regiment. And this one's C Squadron, 9th Royal Tank Regiment. Okay, so 3 scenarios have 9th Royal Tank Regiment in it. Interesting. It's a narrow but deep river. Yeah, I saw the pictures of it. I'm like, what? I don't have a book on the Churchill. I'm pretty sure I don't. I've never built one. Never built one. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. That's the kind of stuff I like to do anyways. All right, I think we need to make another cafe. Let's get that going. Brew up. You know, if I had an automatic tea maker, I'd have tea. Tea tastes a hell of a lot better than coffee. Only reason I drink coffee is because caffeine. That's it. Tea's a bit lame in the caffeine department, but it tastes a hell of a lot better. There's no doubt about that. Stains your teeth, though. More than coffee, which makes no sense. Doesn't make any sense to me because it's dark. Coffee's darker. I'm not a science guy. I'm sure there's a good reason behind it. Okay, so these Brits have to sit and spin. Let's take the anti-tank gun crew for the Germans. Well, we're not going to go to the Russian front soon. Okay, so let's do the Jerry anti-tank crew. I know, and I've got 2 anti-tank guns, but only 1 crew because I couldn't find the other guys readily. So let's go ahead and paint these guys, even though these figures are a bit lame. I think we'll be able to make them look all right. Good old Airfix guys. Oh, son of, let's get rid of this thing before we go and paint it. I thought we looked at all this stuff. We didn't have any flash. This guy doesn't have a face at all. We'll fix that. We'll fix you. And I actually have a white metal anti-tank crew, but I'm pretty sure they have smocks. So you just want to use a regular looking Kraut guy here. They said, I was reading about the Pac 40, one of the issues that they had was that it was heavy enough that they really couldn't move it by hand very well, which I thought was surprising, but I think moving the gun would be a lot easier than moving all the ammo around. Like, you want to move from here to here, but you got all this like ammo and shit everywhere. Looks like the RTR used the Mark 7 with the cut down mud guards. Okay. We'll see if those. I know you guys want me to do a Churchill, man. I can do some of this stuff justice, man. I really can do some of this stuff justice. Actually, the color I did for my British, I'm really happy with the color of the British tanks that I came up with other people's help. You know, there's lots of videos how to paint things on the internet, and you look at them like, I like how they turned out, or I don't like how they turned out, or I would have done this differently. You know, you at least get you get a chance to see what it looks like completed before you decide to try the colors. But I did not know that the Pac 40 had longer ammunition than the 75 millimeter guns in the Mark 4 H and J. I did not know that. They had longer brass. You know, when we try the anti-tank gun, that's what the scenario will be. It'll be one anti-tank gun versus, you know, something. Or a pair of somethings, and just see how the damage gets handled. They don't have to be complete scenarios. What I threw together the other day wasn't really a complete scenario. It ended up, not only did it turn out okay, but it lasted enough time, had enough detail, and was really well balanced. Who would have thought, you know? Yeah, this ammo is totally wrong, whatever he's picking up, but it'll work for this purpose. And this only has a 3-man tank crew. I don't know if this particular guy had a 4-man tank crew, but we can grab like Lance or somebody like that. He's Lance is a little rifleman that I have that's kind of kneeling, and he could sub in for another crew member. And these guys aren't showing any weapons, but I'd probably give them P-38s or something like that. In reality, they'd probably have rifles, but let's go ahead and do these commie fucks. Larger propellant charge, which is a benefit of not having a safe space to the same extent. Yeah, I didn't know that. I did not know that. And I have a feeling that it's probably about this much difference. Maybe short of a foot, but more than 6 inches. It could definitely make a difference. I don't know if the game takes that into effect, but it will when I get a hold of it. Sorry. That's what I'm here for. To make your generic game seem less generic. That stuff's important to me. It's important for me to learn about real things. Not just be like, oh, well, this is what the rules say. If the rules are clearly wrong about something, we'll paint these Soviets, wash our hands. I'm sure we're going to get this stuff on there. Grab our coffee, and then we'll look and see if those Churchills are still available. All right, here's the commie gunner. You commie gunner, you. I know for a fact the command decision that's not covered in there. It's not covered in advanced squad leader. I bet it's actually a little known thing. Oh yeah, it's the same guns on the Panzer IV. Or most people would be like, okay, it's a 75 L46, which is shorter than the L48 that's in the Panzer IV. Or at least the Panzer IV of, a 44 vintage, right? The standard one. The early ones had the 43. So if anything, the gun on the Panzer IV should be more powerful because it's 2 calibers longer. So see, that's just it. Things aren't so cut and dry like that. Just like I was saying, it's very difficult to find any account. I actually don't know you could find an account that goes into details about the 76 millimeter gun HE that doesn't bring up the fact that it has worse performance than the 75. And you're like, well, it doesn't make any sense until you look into it and like, okay, well now it makes sense. So I would bet money that the face of battle does not take that into effect. Does not take into effect that the 76 HE is less powerful than the 75. But it will in my game. Just like I don't think my set of rules or my version of the rules talk about the minimum depression, but I knew the game needed to do that. I mean, you're playing a game where you're basically doing that. You're doing the kind of stuff that happened in that scene in Saving Private Ryan, where that Tiger tank or that mocked up Tiger tank is in that town. What was the name of that town? That fake town, whatever it is, and they're all over the tank. You can't fire the main armament at, when people all over you and have any effect other than destroy people's eardrums. And I'm not an ancients and medieval expert, but man, World War II is my jam. So there's stuff that I'd be aware of. I mean, I don't know everything, but there's stuff that I'm aware of because of the weapon systems and stuff like that that may not be included in the game and should be. To drive a better narrative experience. The helmets these guys came with almost look like US helmets. The Soviet one has a little bit more of a dip here around the ear. The American one's almost straight across. It's scooped a little bit, but the Soviet one has a bigger dip on the side. Hopefully that won't bug me. The other thing about helmets is you just assume that they're bulletproof. I mean, that's why you have it on there, but that's not really what they're for. They're really for shrapnel, I think. You know, to stop. I mean, hell, that's why they were created in the first place. I think, unless I'm totally wrong, I think everybody in World War II started, and World War One started with um, started with headgear, but not it didn't protect you at all. It was just for show, or it didn't protect you much. You know, Germans have a helmet. What's it made out of? Cork. What's that going to do? You know. And then, due to the heavy use of artillery in the First World War, they had helmets to protect you from that. And obviously, if it hits you somewhere else, it's not going to save you because your helmet only goes on your part of your head. But something's better than nothing. The same way, you know, you're supposed to wear a hard hat on a construction site, not because, you know, if a pallet of bricks falls on you, it won't make a fucking difference. But if you bump your head into something by accident, you know, you're not bleeding for 6 hours or, you know, knocked unconscious. Hard hat's not designed to stop a pallet of bricks from falling on your head and you surviving. You know, same way that steel-toed shoes aren't designed for, you know, a tank to drive over them. Oh, my feet are good. All right, let's rinse this. I'm going to use a little. I'm going to use a little boy's room. I'll be right back. All right. Ah, okay. Perfect. Thank you, Jeffrey. We're at 100% here. Fourth and seventh Royal Tank Regiments, okay? Here's pictures from Epsom. Man, they look cool with all that armor on them. All that extra tracks. I don't think that one's a 7. That has the what I call the ugly turret. The roundy one. It's funny. And I've said this before. The Brits have this thing about taking American stuff and making it look better. The US 75 does not have a muzzle brake. The Brits put a muzzle brake on it. It looks better. They do. I just call them like it is. General Richard O'Connor arrived in his motorbike. Exclamation point. Excellent. I'm gonna have to look into that. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Now, back on my deep dive. Let's see what's available out there. 172nd Churchill tank. Now, there's a lot of pitfalls, okay? Um, a lot of things when you order online, they actually tell you they're 172nd and they're not. They're 176th or worse. Or worse. So it's funny because the one of the people that's actually really inexpensive is one of the 3D printers, and they make this. They make Churchill threes, and they make one of the threes that they call it as a crocodile. I don't think the. I think all the crocodiles were sevens. What? Well, I'm gonna have to watch this. Add to watch list. I'll probably forget. And I'm not buying the. I have the Airfix Churchill, and it's a piece of shit. It's got so many road wheels, and I lost something on it. I couldn't build it. It's one of the few things that I was able to build. This is a good buy. So the Matchbox collectible ones, and I have one of their Shermans, and I have one of their Mark IVs. Their Churchill is definitely the right size, and it's available shipped. $12 plus 9.90 ships, so it's $20 for one. That's not too bad, and it is the correct size, and that's definitely a 7. God, the paint on it looks really thick though, and I'm just not going to strip stuff. That's just a whole lot of work. Yeah, like this guy. This guy's selling 86 ZVTG, I guess that's vintage, Xylmex, UK British Centurion Mark III Churchill tanks wargaming. I'm pretty sure these guys aren't 1/72nd scale. You know, these are like kids' toys. Who knows what the heck they are? You got to be careful with some of this stuff. Just because it comes up doesn't necessarily mean it's the right scale. You know, look at the Churchill next to the Centurion. Okay, a Churchill is a huge freaking vehicle. A huge vehicle. It's not that much smaller than a Centurion. That's obviously incorrect. But, you know, before you spend $300 on it, you better get your facts straight, you know? Yeah, so here's a 3D printer that's really affordable in the United States. Who are they called? Railroad Connection. This stuff looks like ass, in my opinion. I mean, here's a Cromwell. It's terrible. Like, I'm not wasting my 4 hours trying to make that pretty. Red Dog Hessian camouflage. Well, I got an article in the magazine that tells me how to do that. Yeah, this is supposedly 1/72nd scale. I bet it's not. That looks really small. So you get one for under 20 bucks, or right under 20 bucks. I think the one from the Matchbox is probably the one to get. So I guess they're not that much more expensive than. I mean, here's one from Dragon. Of course, it's a Mark III in Tunisia, which you know the Dragon stuff looks nice. 20 bucks, $21 free shipping. That's not bad. That's not bad. Cool. Talk about it. PSC Churchill's perfect, but you only get two because there's so much spare parts for making 79th Armored Division variants. Talk about out of scale gun barrels. Yeah. Yeah, I don't get excited about those 79th Armored Division vehicles. They're too fucking weird, man. But okay, so these guys are drying. Let's get the Pack 40. Now, there are these things on the side of the Pack 40 that look like they could be the range sticks. And I would love if they were the range sticks because I would love to add some color to this. But the reality is, if they are the range sticks, I would paint them after I'm going to do what I'm going to do now, anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and weather both of these. And we're going to use the same colors that are on the ground. So we're not going to use the base color, but we're going to use going to use some US Field Drab, some Iraqi Sand, wherever she is. Yeah, What's really weird is if you order the Tigers from Plastic Soldier Company, you get 3. If you order Panthers, you only get 2. And if you get the Churchills, you only get 2. I'm good with that one Tiger that I have from Cromwell. God, that's a beautiful model. That is a gorgeous model. And I held on to that for 25 years because I didn't think I was able to do justice to it. And it was right. I probably would have fucked it up. I'd probably be unhappy with it. And instead, I did it, and I'm like, holy shit, this turned out well. You think the Tamiya model, you think the Tamiya instructions for the range sticks can be trusted, if it gets any? Let's go to pack 40. Let's just do this. Pack 40, range. They might be called something else. Okay, here is an illustration, and it doesn't have them painted. I don't even know if that's what that is, but it sure looks like it could be. There's the shovel. We do the shovel last. Could just be for artillery stuff. It's technically not artillery. It's not artillery in my book. I'm not seeing any place where those are painted that way. Oh! As soon as I said that, there's one in brown. Well, if there's some kind of detail to add to it, I will, because it'll look cooler. It's a good looking weapon. It looks a lot better than the Pac 38. The Pac 38 looks weird, especially with that little zigzag. The Pac 40 is a good looking weapon. Here they are. Of course, this is from Warlord. I can tell it's Warlord. I think I'm going to do it because it'll look good, and then of course we'll do that afterwards. All right, so let's grab. This has been washed. Yes. Let's do this. Then we'll highlight anything that might need to be done. No, this is dark sand, not Iraqi sand. That's its cousin. We'd be consistent. All right, we're going to go really, really light on this US field drab. Really, really light. All right, I've pushed this thing off to the side because I found it. This is what we want to dry brush with. Make sure we're grabbing it somewhere that's robust. mainly the wheels. This model's got to be about as, the mold for this model's got to be pretty close to my age. I want to say like 74, in which case I'm older than this model, but not by much. A mere smidge. That's been around a long time. It seems to be okay, other than the part where the wheels attach is a little weak, so you got to be careful when I'm holding this. I don't want to put too much lateral pressure on this and then it ended up cracking and I got a different problem on my hands. So we're trying to be careful with that a little bit. All right, let's bring in the Iraqi sand. Let's rinse this out. Let's get the highlight Dunkelgelb color. It should be this one. Yep. The shine is worthless. It's like damn near white. In my opinion, it's worthless. Oh no, my grills fell down. Okay. This stuff is pretty challenging to work with most of the time. It's pretty darn watery. We're just pretty much just adding highlights of where this stuff goes. Man, it's a long freaking tune. And it's also in the range of hearing I don't really hear really well, but that would be a cool scenario. Is go ahead and do well. I got to get the tank crew, the anti-tank crew painted. That's going to take a little bit of time, but now I think this actually might have the channel in it. In other words, one of these where the actual gun is supposed to sit in a channel, and it's not molded that way, like we did on the Martyr. We painted it. Let's look at a picture of an actual weapon. Yeah, that's correct. See, it's sitting on it in a channel. And this one is a solid piece. So we're going to paint that like it has a channel, like we did with the Martyr. I know that's really anal retentive, but I did it with a Martyr and it looked really freaking good. It made a difference. So we're going to do, let's do that now. Let's do that now before we go any further. Let's get some black. Come on. Not the black that's in the primer. Not the primer black. We're going to need some white. Nope. That's camo. Nope. Ivory. Nope. That one's probably old as shit. Where's my white at? That's it. Yep. Alright, let's... Yeah, we can use this one. Although it's got this one... That's the problem with cheap brushes, is sometimes you get one that likes to misbehave. I don't want to pick up any paint on that. Okay. The rest of the brush is just fine. All right, perfect. Water will work for this. And this fits in a channel. There we go. Shit, I mean, all you got to do is that. That makes a hell of a difference. Liner brushes work so much better than regular brushes for stuff like this. You pull a line like that and it's even and shit. That's it. It's that simple. You make it seem simple because it is. We'll highlight the edge with it. You know, the only gripe I have with this, I mean, I wish it was 1/72nd scale, but is that it can be delicate. So we don't want to break this thing, or then I gotta make another one. Well, one thing I'm going to go ahead and I don't need to do that right this second. Yeah, so you got one guy that'll be like that, one guy that'll be one guy will be in like this. Doesn't really matter as long as they're near the cannon. They'll all have names. The gun crews don't have the gun crews and the tanks won't have names. These three guys will all have names, along wherever the hell the other gun crew is. We don't have to worry about two pack 40s until you get one done. This one's a little bit raised at an angle. How it glued, but I'm gonna leave it alone. That's a good way to break it. They look okay. I think you use little range things. Flat red. Now I don't know how many stripes it's supposed to have. I ain't getting into that. That's a detail too far. But we're going to put them both on both sides. And this is the brush to do it with, that's for sure. So I'm going to start off by painting everything in dark gray. Let's make up a dark gray. We'll do one vehicle. We'll do one gun. So we're going to start with dark gray. All right, go to the other side. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. I got the black gray, I've got the dark gray mixed up here. It's unlikely I will not like how it looks. It's possible, but it's unlikely. In the case that I don't like how it looks, we'll repaint it a different color. We're not going to just leave it yellow. Rinse that out. All right. Yeah, it's not included in that particular one. Pack 40 images. I'm not going to think about it too much. And the reason I did black grays, I've got that's going to be the bottom color of that. We're going to still highlight this as we go. So we're going to do red on the other one. All right, we started with this one. All right. And I'm going to bring this up as we're talking about it. Actually, you know what? No. That way we can get the spacing. If there's a problem with the spacing, we can get the spacing right. I'm going to go and switch to the other side. Oh, not that one. This one. Okay, now we're going to do the white. Same thing with the white. But, not completely white. And then we will go ahead and add it's not perfect. There's more gaps on this other side than on the other one. And we'll go back with the red. Oh, yeah. 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 Vastly improved. And then let's highlight a little bit of the red. And I use white for this. It's not really that important what color you use. And then we'll come back with the pure white. And I'll show you guys a picture of what it looks like. It's just completely lost on the computer. Oh yeah. It needed that. Easy enough to do. makes it look, hey, it's an Italian gun. No. Makes it look a hell of a lot better. A hell of a lot better. Let's do it again. It's gonna. Already? Nah. Yeah, I thought that was too soon. It's not. It's the garbage truck coming and picking up the limbs and shit like that. Right. Wer ist mein Weit? And why did I put it back? It didn't. Okay. Okay, well now it sounds like a garbage truck. Before it was like, the wife's already here? There goes the ball game. Yeah, if I need a fourth gun crew member, I can have that on there. So then we could do a one anti-tank gun versus a couple Shermans or something like that. You know, at point blank range. They'll have to come around a hedgerow. That's going to be the standard operating procedure. Things appear out of a hedgerow. Ha ha! I have a feeling at this range, this is just go right through this will go right through a Sherman. It's not even a matter of, it's just a matter of where does it hit on the Sherman, what kind of damage does it do. You're talking about every shot's under 100 meters. Shit, we did the red first, didn't we? We did. Let's be consistent. And then we'll come in with a white. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this all the way up. Actually, this one has less stripes than that one. Eh, they're all different. No wonder they can't hit the broadside of a barn. Okay. So that's where we're going to start for this morning. And we will continue, well, tomorrow morning. I suspect that we'll probably paint tomorrow morning. But anyways, thanks for hanging out with me, folks, this morning. And we will see you guys